Hello and welcome to Cards and Coaching. I would like to bring up a subject that might be interesting not only for customers or clients, but also for people who read and use tarot cards. It's the subject about spreads. Are they useful or not, or how can you handle the situation and the idea of spreads? So, first of all, in my first video, I brought simply a reading with one card and three decks, so that's not really a spread. And I have to admit that 90% of the time when I have a customer or client, I don't use spreads because I think that it might be more important to develop the question that a person really has, and use the cards to get step-by-step answers. So you might develop one question and the customer takes a card, you explain the card, and because of that card, another question comes up. And you go on building up a line with the different cards and the different questions until the person, the customer, has a certain kind of solution, or at least knows how to find and develop his or her own solution. Does that mean, sorry, that I consider spreads to be useless? No, not necessarily. The point is that those typical spreads that we very often find, like a Celtic cross, might not bring the information that the person needs or too much of it. So if the person knows already where the problem comes from, you don't necessarily need to bring up past cards. And if the person isn't ready for a solution but needs to have the information about where does the problem really come from, then questions about possible outcome might irritate the customer or client, or even yourself if you start working with the cards. So, but there are other questions or there are other spreads that might be very useful. For example, if you like to work on yourself, Anthony Dawn's full moon spreads can be very useful. I use them too. I am giving you the link of her page. Does that mean that I'm not using spreads myself? Rarely, but there are some that I'm using. But instead of using spreads, I started making spread cards. So actually, they will be in German, so sorry about that. It's because I started in German. Actually, I make cards, I create cards with different positions where I have a certain explanation about the position and maybe a question that can be answered by the card that will be used in the spread. And this one that I'm just showing you is my chakra spread. So I'm going to make an offer on that too, where I have a card for every chakra. I will try if you can read that with the explanation. And but also this is a spread that is based on different layers. So the first layer is the chakra card or the chakra spread, and then I found out that the different chakras communicate in a certain way. So I made bridge cards between the chakras. So how is one chakra helping evolving the next chakra and so on, or maybe blocking. And I also use an as above, so below card or two cards. So sort of what is the information we get from our higher self and how can we use it in our everyday life down to earth, rooted with the root chakra. Why I'm using it like this is very simple. If there are similarities between cards or a person is asking about a special card, I can take it out of the spread without without losing the position or forgetting about the position where it was put in. So I just move them around with the spread card underneath, and so it will always be in the focus of that position in that special thread. So there are different spreads I'm using like that. I have the butterfly spread. I'm going to explain them in my offers. I also have two that I will maybe explain a little bit further in different videos. One is the transaction analysis spread. So let me just explain transaction analysis and put it in a nutshell. There is theory that we have different ego states, and those ego states react or have a certain opinion on a situation and can build up a conflict inside of ourselves. So, if someone has a problem and would like to do inner work, the ego states can be a very good way. Where I have one position that explains the problem. Let me show that just simply a problem card with position with explanation about the problem. And then I use the different ego states, first of all, in a problem spread. So we have different ego states, which is parental ego states. There are two of them. I will explain that later on in another video. We have three childlike ego states. So to be absolutely clear, this is not childish, but it's childlike. So the childlike ego states consider our emotions. The parental ones are our our explanation or our judgment on people, on ourselves, or maybe on the situation. And then we have an adult ego states that may try to stay as objective as it is possible for a subjective person to be objective. So I have two parts of that. One is the problem part, and the other one is the same spread as solution. So what I can do in this moment is using the cards in the problem spread, put them back later on, and then make the solution spread. So maybe the same cards turn up and can show you that the problem is what one part considers to be a problem, another part considers to be a solution. So those interaction of our different ego states can be made possible with the help of the images of the card. And last but not least, another very important spread that I'm using is the Fool's Path. So this is a spread about all the greater arcana, the major arcana, that will be used as well as position. So here you can see, if it is possible to see it, that it is the magician position and the card that will be put in. And it is a double spread, so it is used in two different ways. One's like a map, and the other one like an Arthurian table. I will make more than one video about this one. And it is so vast and so huge and versatile that, just to give you an example, if I write the information down just of the spread itself, I am at 20 pages for a spread. And I will make an offer to guide people through this for 1 year and a half. Just to give you an example, how much you can work with this. But those are spreads that are typically used if you really say, I would like to work on myself. So it's not like I have a small situation and I'm using such a spread. The offers will come later on. So what I would like to finish with is the customers that we get, and even yourself, are always versatile. There are many types of customers, and I would like to invite you to keep, if you are a tarot reader, I would like to invite you to keep your possibilities as versatile as your customers are. So you might use one card with different decks or just one card. You might use typical spreads. You might use the possibility to go through it step by step as you develop the questions. You might use even other possibilities like making sort of fantasy voyage through a card, or getting the cards, the persons on the cards to get into communications. I will make videos about this too. But keep it as versatile and as open as it is possible with each and every client. So thanks for watching me.